I don't know. I'm ready. It's a 2:45.
Yeah, we're ready. Whenever you are. Let's give a statement as well if you have questions.
I don't really have a statement. I just questions. I mean, last year, you try to forget or you try to remember. You don't want to forget those things, but, obviously the season didn't go the way we wanted. You finished a couple guys round of 12. You get only 4 guys to the national tournament. You end up 500 in your dual season, but more than anything, probably how we competed, wasn't what I think of UNI wrestling, what I think when I think about Panther Train and what we're about. A lot of those things didn't happen, So you take some inventory and you go back to work, and this spring and summer was really good. This young group of kids that came in, they're ranked highly coming in, but it's more the attitude that they have and how they're raising guys' level, probably more than anything. And they're coming in with really high expectations of themselves in the program. So, I've seen a jump, and I think this year's probably going to be some of the best mix that we've had of some younger guys, some older guys. We have some good senior leadership. We have some juniors, we got some sophomores, and we got some freshmen that are going to be in that lineup. You got a really good mix. I guess what I've been most impressed with this fall has been the output, and that's really what we've tried to focus with our team is output. Output. Don't worry about results. Worry about output. Put out as much as you can. Try to score as many points as you can. Try to be an entertaining wrestler and compete with a certain way. I think anybody watch that All-Star meet? There's a couple guys that, wow, that was fun to watch. For the most part, it was pretty boring though. And how do you break out of that? And I watch Twitter, and how do you break things out of that? I put it on us as coaches. Put it on us as coaches, and to get our athletes to wrestle a different style that's exciting. Instead of a 3-2 match, a 2-1 match, to look at each other, no one takes a risk. There were some real changes that try to help that, but more than anything, you help that. The room helps that, and your attitude as far as a coach and what you deem important and critical for your individuals and your team to have success. Is the foundation of your program. What you're doing every day in that room. When you don't let their butt get to the edge. I mean, obviously, new rule, you can't go off the edge. Your butt's in the center all the time. Those little things, when you get those guys to do those every day, then they just happen in competition. So that's really what we've focused on so far this year is output. Output being extremely high, so hopefully that output stays extremely high when they compete too. There's not that drop off, there's not that change. And I think we're ready to compete though. I think you get to this time of year, even though it's 70 degrees out, which doesn't seem right to me, but you get to this time of year, it's time to compete. We still got a little time. We don't compete till next Sunday, so kind of keeping that edge, but keeping them hungry too. Not because everybody's you can kind of see they're ready. They're leaning forward. They're ready on that starting line, ready to go. So we're kind of holding them back a little bit, but they'll get unleashed really soon. This weekend we'll have some wrestle-offs, get guys down to weight, get them competing, and then next weekend we'll get thrown in that fire pretty good with 3 Division I teams. So I want to see how this team responds, because Oregon State's got a pretty good team. Rutgers got a pretty good team. Hofstra's got some guys. So, we're going to start the season a little bit different for us. Usually we start with a tournament. So look forward to having 3 Division I opportunities for our team and see where they're at. And then, you want to build momentum. The best season, one of the best seasons that I had as a coach, a couple years ago, we had a packed house. We had Wisconsin. We kind of got momentum going for the season. And that's what you want to see. You want to see momentum start for the season. And we're going to have plenty of opportunities right away. The 3 right out of the gate, and then some early season things, Missouri in our home arena, but getting momentum going. And more than anything, how guys compete, because you start putting a lineup together with, it's not just Peters, well, who's going to follow in after that? You got a pretty good guy in the name of Josh Elber, who his output's been incredibly high in the room. I tell you what, I love what I've been seeing out of him, and then you put a Yalker Hodges in there, or a Kothi. You start having depth. You start having multiple options in your weight classes where it's not just one guy that you can point to and be like, well, he's going to be the guy that picks us up this time. We got to rely on him. No, it can be this guy, it can be this guy, it can be this guy, and this guy, and this guy, up and down the lineup. And there's still some weight classes that are up for grabs, and they might be for a while. But I know I'm excited to get the season going, as our guys are too. So I don't know. You can ask me some questions if you want. If not, we can go. I'm kidding.
What have you seen out of Blaize from the end of last season to this year?
Well, I'll tell you one thing about Blaize. He got most improved 2 years in a row. I don't know if you hear that very often. So he made a huge jump in his sophomore year to make it to the national tournament. Then he make another jump. Do I think that he's made another jump? I do. I do believe that he's made that next level jump where he's one of the best guys in the country. I know he is. I know as far as how he competes. I love how he competes. He probably set the mark for us last year as how we want guys to compete, and that's a heavyweight. So I think that's a pretty big deal when you have a guy that competes at that level, tries to score that many points, and he's heavyweight, whatever that means. But I'm saying that's not what you expect out of that kind of weight class. So he's been a really leader for us. I've seen him grow as a man too. He's taken on a big leadership role as our team. So there were some things that obviously riding is going to be critical. Getting away is going to be critical in some of the matches. He lost, those things didn't happen. So he spent time there, but he's better offensively. He's just stronger. I think the big thing for him is we got to keep we don't want him down where he's weighing 225. We want to keep him 235 to 240. So 10 pounds doesn't seem like much, but it's a big difference when you're trying to get through a big guy. So I know he's going to be tested right away too. He sees a couple top 10 guys right away. So perfect. Because I tell you what, I know where he's at shape-wise right now. And I'll put that up against anybody. I don't care if it's November or it's March, but I know how he wants to finish his career, and that's certainly not how he finished last year. So it's been eating at him, but eating at him in a good way. So.
What did you want Peters to address during off season?
Footwork was a big thing. Being able to close the gap, because if you watch his matches, sometimes we actually counted in one of the matches, Wyoming. There was a 20-second period where they didn't touch each other. And Dylan Peters, that's not where he's best. He's best when things are mixing up, especially when he's hands-on, because he does have a knockout blow. He has got a knockout blow that he can knock out. He knocked out the NCAA champion last year with that. He's got that against anybody, but the more that he can mix up and create, the better he is. So trying to get that. Whereas footwork is a lot better. So now he's able to relax a little bit more. So you're not kind of poking out here. I'm not sure. I'm so worried about giving up something. His footwork's got a lot better. Obviously head outside attack. He's got a really good head outside attack, and he's got a lot of tools that sometimes he gets stuck into one thing, and he's got way more than that. He's got a whole arsenal of tools. So. Really worked on footwork, because that opens up a lot of his offense. And he's been a hammer on top though. In the room, he's been scoring a lot of points on the mat. Been controlling guys on the mat, so that that adds a whole nother element. That and some leg defense, just getting better there. But there's been certain things that we spent time at, and he's better at. And now it's just going out and getting that confidence back. That I am one of the best guys in the country. It's going out and saying it with how you compete, and not waiting and letting things take down. So we've addressed those things, and he has, and look forward to having him. I think last year a little bit, and I'm not going to speak for him, but I think he felt like, man, I got to get a fall almost every time. And when you wrestle that way, I think sometimes you're not allowing yourself to wrestle like you're capable of, because you're always thinking about bonus points, which is a great thing, but then maybe you limit yourself. We want those base hits and take what's open, and then when the home run comes, he'll be able to knock it out of the park. But just taking those base hits and I don't know. I like where he's at. I like how they're competing in the room right now. He's got some pretty good guys around his weight class to compete with. I saw him and Cologne scrap last week. Him and Elber's a fun scrap to watch. And you kind of get those guys in the room that everybody's levels raising, because they're off for the same thing.